Hey guys, William Murfitt here. Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another episode on Luke's Classic Mini. So, in the previous episode, I managed to sort the interior, managed to mock up the exhaust, I managed to paint the radiator and fill the radiator. Today, I've had the battery on charge overnight, which I'm sort of cradling, it's quite heavy. And I'm going to get that all installed now. I'm going to get the car started up, bleed the radiator through, top out as required, get the exhaust fitted, and get the exhaust mounted up properly as well. So that means sealing it off, making sure it's a nice tight seal, the sealant all sets. Then I need to bleed the clutch out, which I need help with. I need to do an oil and filter change. I need to finish off the front floor, put the seats in, and then that leaves the ride height, greasing of the suspension arms, and the front wheel bearing, and then the paint for the passenger side on the floor underneath, which it's just too cold to paint. Apparently Monday the temperature's going to be picking up, but it was like -7 last night and -7 the night before, -5 in the morning yesterday. So it's a pretty cold one. So that's the plan. Get everything ready to just literally lower the driver's side onto the floor, have the passenger side raised, paint it, and move on to getting outside, giving it a clean, and yeah, I might be able to, if I've got time today, cut and polish the paint as well from above the doorstep line. So lots to do. It's about 10 o'clock. Let's get cracking. Oh, it may be cold, but what a glorious day. Check that out. Very few clouds. Bloody freezing, mind. So let's get the battery in, let's get this car fired up, and let's move on. Right, battery's connected. Just try giving it a bit of a start, and it's still a bit sluggish still. So I'm wondering if it's just because it's been sat for a while, it's just cold, it doesn't really want to start. So what I'm going to do is bring the insignia up behind, connect the jump leads to it, and see if give it a bit of a boost of life. We'll just sort of fire it into life. Once it's warm, maybe it will start a bit better, but I just need to investigate why this is happening. But for now, I just need to make sure it's going to start. I can start bleeding through the system. It's going to be very loud because the exhaust is off, but what I can do is just make sure it's going to start first of all, then fit the exhaust up, and then start it again and leave it running for 10-15 minutes. Yeah, should make it nice and warm in there. A little bit fumey, but warm. Right, we've got the dirty diesel plugged in, running the wires to the battery. Fingers crossed, should be a little bit more oomph. Spinning flywheel, I'll start motor. Come on. There we go. Woo! Right. The battery's not enough oomph to get it going, so maybe they're running for a little while to charge it and get going. It's been on charge most of the night, so maybe it's just not powerful enough. I'll test it later though. But now I know it works, let's get the exhaust fitted, get it all sorted. Okay, there's the exhaust tip. Now you may notice when I cleaned it, I only really cleaned the actual tailpipe and the back section of this back box. And the reason is because it was lying on the floor, so when it's in place, I'm going to polish all this, which is in place now. The clamps I'll put in, I'm going to be putting a second nut on these and then cutting the threads down significantly because they'll catch, same as the ones at the front. But that exhaust is now fitted, sealed. Let's fire it up and leave it to set the joins. See if you get any joy about the battery on. Nearly. Oh. Beautiful. Push the choking a bit. Too far. So what we'll do, before I do any of that, I'm going to adjust that belt up because I de-adjusted it yesterday and it's obviously got a little bit damp because it's overflow pipe, it just leaked a little bit. So I'll adjust that up so it stops it squealing and I'll try again. Okay, so that's the belt now done up tight, everything is tight. Had a bit of a nightmare mishap. You can see that pipe there split. It's like -degrees outside, the pipe burst, and yeah, I just ran for my life to try and get this stuff sorted. Anyway, this is all tight. Let's get the car fired up, and let's hopefully that's not going to squeak. We'll run up to temperature, bleed the radiator, seal the exhaust. Go! So it's not attached to the battery. I think it just needed a bit of a extra little push. Anyway, here it goes. Right, I'm struggling to find help from various people because of obviously lockdowns and wife's preoccupied with the babies and the little one. So what I've done is I've drilled a hole for the top of the clutch cap. Now what I've also done is ordered a new one. It's like £2 from Old School Minis, so that should be here in the next few days. So I've drilled a hole through there. I've connected everything up. I've got my Easy Bleed kit ready to be attached to the wheel. I'm just actually going to drain it till all the air comes out, lock it off, and then hopefully the clutch pedal will be good enough to be able to select gears. At the moment, there's just nothing there. The clutch arm doesn't even move when you put your foot on the pedal. So that's the plan. Bleed it and see how we get on. When you're all alone, the best thing to do is improvise. So what I've used, this is genius, I've used the steering lock. So the pedal's pushed all the way to the floor, like so, and the steering lock is actually pushed out and locked into place against the cross member. So that's now effectively someone putting a foot on the clutch. I can then adjust the arm. So the plunger, okay, so this is the adjusting arm and this is the plunger. So what I want to do is lock it off to the inner one to here, and then I want to go, so you take this flat, one flat de-adjusted, so it'll be to there, then take the locking nut and wind it all the way in, until that meets, and then I want to just attach a spanner to here and here and lock those off. Okay, it's tight. So I'm going to de-release the clutch pedal inside, and that should hopefully spring back and give me plenty of leverage. I'm going to attach the spring, and we're done. Okay, so what I've done, I've removed the split pin, on the R-clip, and I put a thicker washer on there, which means I'll take up a lot of the slack, because what happened was this clutch arm was rattling back and forth and it actually rotated off. So that's now on, that's all attached. So if I go into the car and start it up, I should, in theory, be able to go into gear before I'm going to put my foot on the clutch, and it just sort of ground to a halt. There we go. Fantastic. Right, we've got clutch, we've got brakes. Oh. So yeah, we've got a clutch, we've got a brakes, and I guess it's time to set the ride height on the rear, give the car a cut and polish, and then get the car outside to clean all the dust down. And then I'll just make sure it's fully dry before I come and attack this side underneath, because I think that's probably the best way to do it. The underseal needs to have a second coat, and also I need to paint the doorstep, or not the doorstep, the outer seal. So yeah, super happy with how it's getting on. Oh, I'm over the moon, What an absolute milestone. Now I'm fully aware that one of the most important things about this car is this horn. Now this was held on with two 10mm bolts, which are now back on, and I've also put the engine earth strap from the coil to the bottom of this bolt. It was originally on the slave cylinder, which would have fouled against that spring, so I just need to attach that to there, and then it's the most important thing reattached. So yeah, let's get this connected up and let's get moving. Okay, so what I want to do now is turn my attention to the ride height. It's looking pretty good here. So I want to go from the top of the tyre to the bottom of the wheel arch, or the top of the wheel arch, and that is, say, call it 6 centimeters for argument's sake. Go to the other side, and that is nearly 7. So this side needs to get brought down. Now, as well as that, I need to make sure that when this wheel arch is fitted up to here, there's going to be a good gap, and it's not going to be rubbing on the wheel or a huge up here. So I actually think that is a nice gap, and obviously it's sort of similar to the front. The engine has a bit more weight, obviously, so I think that I'm going to stick with this, make sure this side's tight, and then go across and lower the other side to be the 6 centimeters, because I think that's going to be really smart. I know Luke wants to go low. My concern is that things are going to start rubbing, especially when you go around corners. Things are going to drop and compress and move around and stuff, and if that happens, then you end up with, potentially blowing up tyres and all sorts. But we'll try it this for now and see how we get on. Underneath the car, you can see here, this is the adjustment. So this thread will go this way or this way. Obviously, if it goes this way, it will raise the height of the car, and if it goes in, it will lower the height of the car. There's an adjusting nut and a locking nut, so when you adjust it to the right height, you lock this nut here to the cone, or to the trumpet, and that holds the height in place. Now what you can also do is count the number of threads between this side, and although it's a little bit harder to see, that side, and you want to try and make sure that's level. So you can see here that the lock-in nut is not locked, so I'll need to probably remove the wheel to get access to there, because I mean, you can see the gap here as it isn't going to be suitable to get a spanner in. So if we're happy with that side, I can just lock it off and move on, which is, I think that's a good height. And then it's just a case of adjusting this side, which is a much better side to get into. And then that's the right height done as well. Now while I stopped for a quick bite to eat, I kind of don't do this enough really, and I feel like some people, some suppliers, etc. need to be thanked for the service and it's everything they do to try and help keep the Mini community running. However, I've been using a company recently called Old School Minis, and the delivery service for them is fantastic. I've just been sorting the dash trim. I ordered 10 clips. I used them all, and I sent them a message and say, look, I'll buy these next ones, but is there any chance you can get them delivered next day? I put the order in about 1 o'clock on Thursday, and they arrived in good time Friday morning. So it's less than 24-hour service, and it's just unbelievable. I'm super happy with them. Parts are, you know, great price, etc. And when I went down to get some stuff for Miss Minnie, who is a friend of ours, under the rear subframe, they were more than happy to help and sort the parts out and try and source maybe alternatives of things that weren't in stock, etc. And yeah, I just wanted to say a massive thanks to them. I'm not endorsed, I'm not sponsored by them at all or anything. I wanted to sort of say a thank you for your service and give a little back. So Old School Minis, thank you very much. You've been a big help towards this project. Okay, so that is the end of today's video. Thank you so much for joining me, and I really hope you're enjoying the content so far. If you are new around here and haven't done so already, please consider becoming a subscriber by clicking here. And if you want to watch the next video, click up here. Leave the comments down below, and don't forget to click on the like button also. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.